Okay, who's ready to roll in this show?
I got a question.
Yeah.
If you've got electric cars, they're supposed to be electric, right? No gas.
Yes.
But you have an engine. Mm-hmm. Don't you have to use oil for the engine or the parts?
Better question is, Jeff, is how is that energy that goes to that plug that you plug your car into being made? Welcome to Access Sports Weekly here on AccessWDUN.com. Bo Wilson alongside Jeff Hart and the guy that's always in front and behind the camera, Seth Chapman. Happy New Year, everyone, as this is our first Access Sports Weekly of 2021.
Yeah, it seems a little late, as a matter of fact.
What took so long?
It's taking
What
so
took so
long.
What took so long?
Well, we've dealt with some COVID, some quarantine, some contact tracing, all kinds of BS with the old COVID.
You can't hide from the COVID.
Rona took
I've
control.
been right out front. I'm begging it, and it won't come to me.
One day you're going to get it, Jeff, and
Probably already had it. I have no idea.
It's because
Don't
just took
really
a look
care.
and was like, nah,
That's
Not
part of,
going
that is
there.
not
part of-
enough room in there.
See, that's
Run
part
away.
of my strategy. That's part of my strategy.
okay. Well, that's a great strategy,
Scare
Jeff.
off the viruses.
Well, we are deep in high school basketball.
That, I have to admit, wasn't sure how far we would get in high school basketball. When you had coaches at the beginning of the year just concerning, can we get a few games in? Most of the coaches, certainly back in December, were like, are we going to get this in? Buford went 35 days, the Buford girls, 35 days without playing a game. So that always makes you concerned that you're not going to be able to finish the season. But, the further this goes, the more confident I feel that this is, although the region tournaments are going to be
Fine.
interesting, in a word.
What is your overall assessment of high school basketball, Jeff?
Are we talking statewide, area-wide?
Area.
I don't know that anything is going to match some of the stuff that we had, say, from about the mid-'90s to about 2010. I mean, that's probably going to be the heyday of area basketball. There were so many great teams. You had the East Hall runs. Gainesville was playing for state titles. Now, the Buford girls,
It's struggling, Jeff. It's struggling.
It is struggling. I mean,
It's struggling.
every
let's be
sport-
honest
look,
with it.
Every
Now-
sport goes in a downturn. I mean, football, until about maybe 7 or 8, 9 years ago, was that way in the area. It was just kind of down for a while. You had a couple of teams, but overall, I think that's where we are right now in basketball. There's only a handful of really, really good teams, and everybody's either really young or just struggling.
Which the teams that are really young, for example, take North Hall girls. They're
Yes.
they're really young. They're competitive, but you
Right.
have growing pains.
Well, Rabun County girls are like that. They have 2 seniors. They got like a 9, 11. They have 9 freshmen or sophomore. And yet now, but they've been ranked as high as number 1. So I think you can have talented youth. It's great when you can put it together.
Right.
Usually that's not the case. Yeah, there's some really, Dawson County, I believe, kind of young on the girls' side. You got some boys programs that are kind of rebuilding themselves. It's
in the cycle.
It is. Right now, we're just kind of in that.
Yeah.
I think overall we're in the down cycle. I think that, coaches might be upset with us saying that, but I think
it's
that they
more
would
of
agree
a-
with us.
I think it's more of an up and down for a lot of the teams. Some it's down. But I think a lot of teams, when you talk about the youth, maybe not, the chemistry may not be in full force yet when you look at younger teams, but you see a lot of good things out of them, and you're like, okay, this team's going to be good next year.
Like North Hall
Yeah.
girls, they're young, but they have some talent.
They
I think
do.
once they put it together, I think they could put a run here over the next couple of years like they had last year.
Well, let's look at, okay, so 2 of the best girls teams while we're visiting 7-3A, Lumpkin and White County. Okay, now it didn't happen overnight for them.
No, but White's got some young girls that are contributing. But
Right.
then they have people like Daisha Cannon,
Right.
who's a senior.
They have a good combination.
They do. Real good
And
combination.
North Hall had a good combination last year.
Right.
But the meat of their rotation, were seniors. So you see how that's working out. But you look at Lumpkin and you look at White County girls. Those 2 teams have been pushing. I know White County dropped down into 3A. Lumpkin last year, they were on the verge. And now look at them at this moment. So you've got those two teams that are ranked in the state. I'm pretty sure our Lumpkin is at least.
Well, in White County, I believe.
White should be, but their
I think
overall record's kind of messing them up.
Yeah, they played a tough schedule. I think they're in the top 20, if you look at Max Preps.
Yeah.
I mean, Lumpkin's been as high as number 1 this year. Raven was number 1. Jefferson girls have been number 1. Buford's been number 1. I mean, I think right now, we can sit here and talk about, well, maybe it's down overall. And I think it is, but we also have some teams that are just, they're high caliber. So it's almost like an all or nothing with our teams right now.
It is. There's no doubt about that. All right, so regions are shaping up as we get closer and closer to the second week in February. Now, all the region tournaments have to be finished by February 20th. Now, we have a couple schedules released for 7-3A and for 6-7A. 6-7A is Gainesville's region. Those tournaments, some of them, 6-7A is playing at the higher seeds. It's going to last a week, 7-8 days. You've got 7-3A that's playing at the higher seeds for the first two, the play-in game, and then the quarterfinals.
Hanukkah doesn't take that long.
Yeah, and then you've got semifinals and finals for the girls at Lumpkin and for the boys at Gilmer and 7-3A. So all over the place. We haven't secured 8-4A. We also have not secured 8-2A. 8-6A is held at Beaufort City Arena. So that's kind of one of the normal tournaments that's happening. And a lot of these tournaments or regions are now saying, okay, top 2 seeds are going to advance to the semis, which gives them an automatic ticket to the state tournament, and we'll have a playing game for the 6 and 7 or however how many teams you've got in your region after the top 2 go on, which I like because if you look at this, Jeff, it now puts a really true meaning, in my opinion, on the regular region schedule.
Absolutely. I think every region I think the GHSA should, look at, and maybe they have over the years. I know they usually leave it up to the regions to kind of determine how they want to, what kind of tournament. But I think this might be something they should mandate. Top 2 teams get into the state tournament. Because, again, you play a lot of region games. What's the purpose of playing, if you got a 7-team region, you play 12 games. What's the purpose of the 12 games if then everybody is just thrown into a hat?
Yep.
And your number 1
seed.
One
plays 8, 2 plays 7. Yeah.
That's what happened last year to Rabun County. Rabun County was, the girls were the number 1 seed coming into the tournament. They didn't get an automatic bye. They got upset. Then they got upset again. They went in number 4, had to play the number 1 team. You had the top 2 teams in the state in AA playing in the first round. Whereas if they had taken the top 2 teams and moved them into the state tournament, then play a tournament, I think you get the better sample of teams. I would like to see the GHSA almost make that a mandate. I mean, I'm not one for, mandates, but when it comes to the playoffs, particularly in basketball, when you play so many games, the regular season becomes moot.
Yeah.
What's the point?
There's no point if everybody's just playing now.
Exactly.
A lot of the regions were giving the top seed, a bye in the first round of the region tournament. But when you take the top 2 seeds, it makes more sense to me because, again, if you are in a tournament or in a region with 7, 8 teams, which most teams around here are,
right,
it gives you something to play for in the regular season. And it also still, a lot of people might say, well, I don't like it because 8 seed could upset a 1 seed. Well, perhaps a lower seed can still upset a higher seed in this format as well. You just have to get through the playing game and then the quarters of the region tournament.
I never understood that logic. So you want to play the number 1 seed.
Yeah, so you want to play the number 1 seed.
You'd rather play the number 1 seed than say the number 5 seed.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But, taking some of that, like 8-6A boys with Buford, you got Buford, Shiloh, and Lanier all ranked in the top 8. So, it puts a premium on those games when they match up. You want to be in the top 2.
Yep.
8-2A, we were just mentioning Rabun, Banks, Elbert County girls, all ranked in the top 7. I mean, it puts a premium on those games. And already Rabun got knocked off by Elbert. Then Rabun turned around and beat Banks. Banks took Elbert to overtime, I believe.
But 8-2A, and we haven't talked about 8-2A, but 8-2A only has 4 teams, right?
That's correct.
So will they have a region tournament? Or are they just taking the top 4?
We need to find that out.
out.
We haven't talked about it. But I'm just saying, even if there weren't just 4 teams,
right?
It puts a premium on the games. Makes them important. And when you got a lot of teams in a region, and then you just throw them all into the region tournament, I mean, I'm kind of like, why don't I just go play a bunch of really good non-region teams? Instead of having to play a bad region team, go play a really good non-region team, and then just show up in a region tournament.
Yeah. I mean,
that's kind of what they do in wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But
speaking of those teams, though, that are greatly improved over the last year or so, White County boys, man, are they flying high right now?
They are. They've almost matched their entire win total. I think they have 11 wins right now. They had 12 all of last year. And, it's interesting. I went to they demolished Dawson County last week by 28. No one it was a full gym, and I bet if you polled everybody, nobody's like, no, I never saw that coming.
Yeah, and that region's a 3-horse race between White, Cherokee Bluff, and Dawson County.
It is, and they hammered them. And, I asked some of the guys afterwards, what's the difference? It's just pretty much the same roster. There's some confidence. I think they're gelling a little bit more with the coaching staff this year than they've had the last couple of years. And, they got a key player back. But it's really, my gist of it was just confidence in the whole package, in themselves, in the staff, and, kind of what their mission is.
Well, Seth had a chance to get up to White County this week as we did our Gaining the Edge feature on Silas Mulligan, who had 46 points last week in 2 games, a combined 46 points. And just watching the Gaining the Edge, which is up on Access right now, you can check it out or go to our YouTube page and also check it out there. But Seth, listen to Coach Bailey on the Gaining the Edge feature. Talk about Silas, but talk about the team and how it's a joy to come to practice and how these players at White County come to work every day.
Yeah, you see our Gaining the Edge, and that was just the tip of the iceberg with my interview with Coach Bailey. We had a nice, long conversation, about his kids, about some of those, leaders that have stepped up and, helped his team get to where they are, helped them push this team to the resurgence that it is right now. So, yeah, we'll kick it to that interview and see what Coach Bailey had to say.
I'll start with our seniors. I mean, you're talking Reese Dockery and Cooper Turner's played a lot of basketball here at White County. I mean, they played since they were freshmen. One thing, I'm their third head coach, basically in 4 years. Another senior, Jimmy King. Jimmy has been hurt his whole high school career. This is the first year he's been healthy, and he is a big difference for us. He's not going to score a lot of points. I mean, he can score points, but he's so unselfish. But he does a great job on the glass, rebounding, blocking shots. Passes very well for a 6'5" kid, and he's our biggest kid we got. So he has been very valuable. He's probably our unsung hero right now. I mean, Cooper's steady. Reese has probably turned into our defensive stopper. We're kind of putting him on the other team's main guy. So it kind of starts with them, and then a couple more seniors, Caleb Reddy and Riley Erickson come off the bench, give us some good minutes. So our senior class is pretty strong, and they've kind of set the tone. I guess we try to show up on the defensive end of the floor, and that's kind of what we based everything off of. We're going to try to play good defense, and hopefully, when we got certain matchups, hopefully our skill set will be, will give us an advantage in those matchups. But this team is played really well, and we got a lot of goals that we're trying to reach, and that's been the funnest part so far is they come to work every day, and we just try to get better.
As you see Coach Bailey there, he talks about his team in a great way and talks about them being fun to coach, and that's good to see because White County, granted, they were stuck with Blessed Trinity of Marist for how many years over in
at least 2 or 3,
the
4,
old 7-4A, and now they dropped out and they're doing much better, and they are in the hunt for a region championship and in the hunt for those top 2 spots. So I know Seth did a good job on Gaining the Edge in the interviews.
We all played. You ran cross country, track. You played football. I, did a bunch of stuff. I played tennis. I just did that for you because you say I don't go a conversation without mentioning that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just thought I'd throw that in.
Pizza.
But when you want to go to practice, it's a lot more fun to play.
Exactly, it is a lot more fun. And I think you see that kind of in a culture change up in Cleveland from the past 3 years that you have that change. And now Coach Robbie Bailey, in his first year as head coach, has been playing well. So we'll see how that shapes up, because the region, they are in the fight for the regions as far as the championship goes in those top 2 spots. All right, now other regions that are kind of shaping up around the area. You look at region, we talked about region 7 3A. Pretty much on the girls' side, it's White and Lumpkins to take.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They're kind of running away. Well, Gilmer's there.
Gilmer's there. White beat Gilmer on Tuesday pretty handily, though.
Beat them very handily. I tell you, that might be, they've been kind of building and building and building. That might be their most impressive win.
I think we're going to see a Lumpkin-White County region championship.
I do. I think they play on Friday, don't they?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We'll have to check that out.
You'll have to take a look at the schedule. I think you're right.
Let me check that out.
Actually, Lumpkin-Gilmer play on Friday.
Lumpkin and Gilmer play on Friday. Okay, that's right. I knew Lumpkin played one of the other teams.
8 4A Jefferson girls, probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be tough to, the Cedar Shoals was ranked, but then Chesadee knocked them off.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, I think it's Jefferson, and then I think it's like a 5-team race the rest of the way. I mean, East Hall's there, Chesadee's there, North Oconee, I think, has a shot. Who am I leaving out? Madison County, maybe.
Madison,
I mean, they are all within like a game and a half of each other. It's a race for second. And what I tell you what I do like around the area, particularly with the girls, like Jefferson is playing Raven. Both of them were ranked number 1 when they played. You got Jefferson playing Buford. Mm-hmm. You've got some of our really good girls programs. I think Lumpkin played Buford or Raven. I believe so. You've got a lot of these teams playing each other because they want to play the best competition. So I would challenge the boys. Let's get it going. Let's get some of these big matchups.
Yeah, Cedar Shoals, Jefferson, North Oconee on the boys' side.
Oof.
So
that's pretty good 3 right there.
That's pretty good 3. And East Hall's coming along. East Hall played Cedar Shoals pretty close on Tuesday.
They did. I think it was like a 7 or 8 point game.
So who knows? That region is kind of wide open as we head into it. So 8 6A Buford girls, pretty much hands down. Nobody really touching them at all this season as expected, even though they went 35 days without playing. And Buford boys, Lanier and Decula, Winder Bear, Shiloh.
Well, Shiloh.
Right. Shiloh.
You had Lanier, Shiloh, and Buford all ranked like in the top 8, like ding, ding, ding. And Lanier knocked Buford off, at the arena on Tuesday. So that's going to be a really good region tournament. I think you got 3 boys teams that you take draw names out of the hat. I think they're all pretty even. I don't see anybody beating Buford.
6 7A over in Gainesville's region. You've got a pretty clear-cut top 3. North Forsyth girls, South Forsyth, and West Forsyth right now battling for the championship on that side. And on the boys' side, you've got South Forsyth, you've got Gainesville, Lambert. So
I want to discuss the girls. Can the Gainesville girls start putting it together in time for the region tournament to be able? Look, they took South like double overtime. I mean,
they took South to double overtime. They played North Forsyth the following week. They lost Zaria, to an injury. She was dressed on Tuesday night, but she had ice around her knee and she was wearing Crocs. So maybe if they get her back into the lineup, that they can put something together, because they did take South to double overtime, but then North Forsyth blew them out. They beat Lambert, of course, and then lost on Tuesday night pretty big to West Forsyth. It was 28-4 after the first quarter. It was a struggle for them. And one of the key things for the Gainesville girls is, obviously, in any sport, basketball, especially team sport, you look at scoring. Gainesville has struggled scoring.
And it really seemed like they were on the verge of really starting to put this together.
Yes.
They won Lanier Land. Again, they looked really good going up to that South Forsyth game. That was a game they could have won that game. So it's
West on Tuesday.
I feel like if they can get everybody back, they have a shot.
West on Tuesday. You look back at North Forsyth, who's ranked like 3rd or 4th in 7A. If you look back to that game, it was 16-8 forever, it seemed like. So it's not like Gainesville was outplayed by North Forsyth. It's just they couldn't score.
Right.
And when you can't put the ball in the hoop, it makes it even worse.
That's kind of the object of the game. Am I not right?
Yes. And when the other team, much like against West Forsyth, is using the defense to create offense, and then you're not scoring.
Well, Zariah Williams being out, that's a big loss.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a big loss.
Just puts a lot of energy out there in the court. And the Gainesville boys, I feel like they should win that region, but they have just been kind of up and down. What do you think? Because you're kind of the voice of the Red Elephants right now. What do you think needs to be what?
Well, last night. Now I'm dating the show. On Tuesday night. Against,
I think that secret's out already. We've done this I know. We've slipped up like 3 or 4 times now in this show.
I mean 300 or 400 times.
Something like that. Okay. I'm talking about this particular slip up.
This one show, Well,
this particular slip up's happened a couple of times.
Yeah, so on Tuesday, Gainesville off the offense, not clicking in the first quarter, fell down 15-10. Second quarter, they started playing their game. They extended the full court press. They didn't force a lot of turnovers, but they altered, West Forsyth enough so they get back in the game and take the lead. Third quarter comes, kind of a slow go with that, and West in the fourth quarter, it just kind of continued. In the fourth quarter, West cut it down to a 1-point game. And then Gainesville, Robert Reisman, 5-0 run on himself, and then they're up in the game late, and it's like, Gene and I were talking on the broadcast, okay, guys, you don't need a basket here, so you don't need to rush it. The only opportunity you should have to score in this one is a wide-open layup or a wide-open, easy bunny shot. Run the clock, force them to foul. Gainesville rushed. So time management's going to be one of the things, and Coach Graham said that on Tuesday night, talking to him after the game. He's like, we got to work on that.
Right.
And so Gainesville has the opportunity. Gainesville has the athletes. Gainesville has the team that can win that region. It's just, can they put it together for 4 straight quarters when it comes down to playing in a tournament setting?
Even NBA teams probably wonder that too. But when I watch Gainesville, and I haven't seen them as much as you have, but I've seen 2 or 3 games. They can go small, they can go quick, they can go outside, they can go inside when they bring in said. I'm trying to. Do you think it's trying to figure out what is their best style? What gives them? Are they better as an up tempo 3-point shooting type of team with Reisman and Eli Pitts and that crowd, or are they better when they run sets and try to pound it inside the set?
I think they're better on transition personally, and the shots are there for them. You've got Reisman, who's probably averaging 20-plus points a game. You've got Pitts. That's play. It's a great wingman. He's flashy. He's quick. He can jump. He loves to dunk, because we've got some dunks coming up later on. You've also got Luke Blackburn, who kind of controls the offense.
Right.
You've got Jimmy Jackson, who also has some control of the offense, and Jimmy can slash. Luke can shoot as well.
See, all those guys, none of those are big inside guys.
My favorite lineup, though, has Said in it, just because I like having the big man down low. But, and Said, as we've talked about 1,000 times on the broadcast, has soft hands, and he can score. I mean, he can shoot, he can score, but now sometimes, that doesn't work for them. But I like the rotation with getting Said into the game, but I also like the rotation of the up and down game that Gainesville can run. And, when they're
that might not fit Said, because asking a big man to run up and down the court, you're going to wear him out.
Said gets up and down the court. Now he's not in the transition go format. He knows that. I mean, he's going to Ole Miss to play football. I mean, we all know that. He's 6'5", 275 pounds, 280 pounds. So we all know that. But the key thing about Said inside, in my opinion, if you're going up against another 6'6", 6'7" guy, like against West Forsyth, tall and lanky, well, Said can get you out of the way. So, I mean, to me, I think it's a good rotation of what Coach Graham's trying to do from the standpoint of
I like both styles, but it just seems to me when I watch them and they've struggled, they're not on the court enough.
They want to run. I mean,
right.
Who doesn't want to run? I mean, that's high school basketball. If you can run, you can run, and especially if you got kids like Robert and Eli who can and even Luke and Jimmy and some of the other guys, Dylan Bobka. He plays. He's not tall, but he plays big inside. He can jump. So Gainesville has the tools to win the region. It's just, can they put that all together? And again, I'll go back to the West Forsyth game on Tuesday, late in the game. Clock control. Coach told him, saw him tell him, look, we don't need to score. Let's time management. Let's force them to foul, because with the new foul counts, which I love, by the way.
The game seemed to really fly.
They do.
Now.
I mean, they are raced to foul counts after every quarter. So there you have that, and that because it factors into the game late. So you force them to foul you when you're up by 6 or 7 points. Gainesville, they were able to hold on and pull the game out. They went on outscored them 7-2 or 7-4 in the last minute and a half. So it wasn't an issue, but it could have been an issue.
Right.
And
well, maybe that's the kind of game right there. I know you did complain about one possession where they came down. They didn't need to.
So did Chuck. Chuck complained about that. I heard him through the headset.
Wow.
No.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. It was a turnover late in the game, which they shouldn't have even had at that moment.
Well, and maybe maybe this maybe having a near upset can kind of scare them straight, so to speak, and get them to start doing.
Well,
what
it's finishing
feel like,
games for them. It's finishing games, just like South Forsyth. They lost in overtime.
To me, that's their region to
game.
lose. I feel like it's their region to lose, even though this is their first year in 7A.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think this Gainesville team really is just scratching the surface of how good they can really be.
All right, guys. Well, Seth has put together, as we move along here, as the joke was with you and Seth about he just takes photos of dunks and videos of dunks, but he doesn't. But we all love dunks.
I never see lots of different things.
I never see those.
We all love dunks. And Eli last night, Tuesday night, folks, sorry. Eli had a couple dunks. I know you weren't there to film those, but he had a couple dunks, and one he had a breakaway, which I felt like he was going to showboat a little bit, which I was upset he didn't showboat, but on the other hand, I know why he didn't.
You're just all about the bling, aren't
because
you?
they needed the points at that point. But
I thought dunk was a high percentage shot.
Well, not if you're trying to showboat on it and you clang it off the back of the rim. And yeah, coach is not happy about that one if that happens. But Seth, what you got for us on the dunk reel?
So this being our first episode of the new year, first episode of our new season, I've decided to get all of the dunks that I've had so far this season, and I'm building a dunk reel. And what I think I'm going to do
is...
Any
donuts in that?
No, no dunking. A lot of dunking, but no donuts.
Okay.
I'm really glad that my brain actually put that joke together that quick. I'm really surprised at myself, but
it didn't go.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, I caught it, and it was pretty good. Thank you, Bo.
Touchdown.
Nice alley-oop there.
Yeah, it was a nice alley-oop.
Anyway,
and you caught it.
Yes, and we got a couple of dunks for you guys. Here they are. Enjoy them.
Dunks. Who doesn't love dunks? The only problem this year with dunks, there are no fans.
I know.
To go crazy.
Yeah, it's just,
and there were some dunks in Lanier Land.
If you dunk and there's nobody there to see it, did it really happen?
There's a dunk in Lanier Land.
I mean, I was there to see those.
Okay.
Dre Raven had a massive dunk in the championship game for Bluff, and then Eli had just a whopping inbound the inbounds dunk play that Gainesville does, and over two people. And if there would have been fans in the stands, the whole gym would have just burned down.
Burned down.
I mean, it would. It would just went crazy. It would shake. It would fall down, burn down, and be nothing but rubble.
Well, they're rebuilding. They're building new stuff at Gainesville High School right now. They could have just added a burned down gym to the list, I guess.
Yeah. All right, guys, we got to get out of here today. Good show. Welcome back, by the way, to everybody as far as doing Access Sports Weekly. And we continue on deeper into the region schedules. It's going to get kind of hairy later on as teams try to jockey themselves up and down the region standings. For Seth Chapman, who is not on Twitter, but he's on the Instagram, right? What is the Instagram? Oh, you'll have it. No, it's going to be
I've got him scrolling.
See, I haven't done it in so long. It's here somewhere.
It's okay.
In this
New season jitters.
area. Jeff's on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. We're on Instagram. As Access, just go follow everything that we have on
I'm
the
trying
screen
to get banned, but nobody will ban me.
Right here. For Jeff, I'm Bo. Enjoy the rest of your week, everyone.